call this the Deebo debacle. Guy has an all-pro season. The Niners don't know what to do about it. Let's assess blame. This should be handled. And really, we're in a position where this dude could get traded in the next 2 weeks. How did we get here? Who is ultimately to blame for the Deebo debacle?
Yeah, I mean, there's two ways you can look at it. You're either blaming Deebo or you're blaming the 49ers, right? And we can divvy up blame within the 49ers if that's the route you decide to go. But for me, I'm certainly blaming the 49ers here. And to me, it was very, very obvious that the 49ers had two things that they needed to accomplish as soon as the offseason started. One was trade Jimmy Garoppolo. That one everybody knew. Two was overpaying Deebo now to save money later. That's the phrase I've been using the whole offseason. And what does that mean? That means giving him more guaranteed money than probably what he's quote unquote worth to you at this moment. But you are setting the market, you're setting the tone. So when all those other guys get paid, they come over the top. That's right. Deebo is now 5th, 6th, 7th highest paid receiver. You're good to go. The 49ers have done neither, right? They've done neither of the two highest priority items they have. Now, people may argue, well, Bosa is a pretty high priority, but I also still get this feeling that Bosa is willing to bet on himself and he may not sign this offseason. I don't think that's as much of a lock as what Deebo should have been. Deebo is truly in the final year of his contract. He absolutely should be re-signed, and they need to figure it out very, very quickly. And I believe that Deebo has the same agent, at least as Brown, maybe even DK. I'm not sure, but
yes,
okay.
So CAA, yes.
There you go. There you go. So all of those guys are being represented by the same people. So if one gets paid, you don't think that agency is going to go to that new team and say, well, this guy just got paid this. You got to come over the top. Now you got to come over the top again. The longer you wait on Deebo to get done, the worse it's going to be for you. So to me, the 49ers are 100% to blame for this. I don't care what Deebo is asking for, how unreasonable it sounds. You have to get his agent in a room and figure this thing out and figure it out now. If Deebo is in the long-term plans, if at this point it's over and you don't think you can repair it and you're shopping him, that's one thing. But if he truly is as important as you made him out to be this last offseason, you have to figure it out and figure it out now. It is on you, the organization, not the player, to get this done, in my opinion.
I don't see how you blame an all-pro wide receiver for trying to get paid like an all-pro wide receiver. Like, why would he not? Like, why would he be like, I was an all-pro last season, but I'm not that good. I'm not that good. Like, let me just tell you right now, I'm more of a running back than a wide receiver, and my hands aren't that good, and my catch radius is like, are you kidding me? Like, how many wins would the Niners have had last season without Deebo?
Dude, they wouldn't have made the playoffs. That's a
6?
fact.
So if this dude is worth 4 wins a season, he's worth a quarterback. Like, that's crazy value. So to me, it's not Deebo's fault that he's trying to. It's like, hey, if this is the going rate for a wide receiver, I'm a great wide receiver. Tell me who's better. Who would you rather have? Brandon Ayuk? For real? You sure? I don't think it's Deebo's fault. To me, I think it's Parag Marate's fault. He's the one that sets the prices for everyone. He's so stingy. He's so rigid. He sets a price, and that's that. Dude, well, the Raiders cashed out Devontae Adams. The Dolphins cashed out Tyreek Hill. The Bills cashed out Stephon Diggs. The Jaguars cashed out Christian Kirk. Are you going to react? Or are you going to pretend like that 4 things didn't happen? Because if you do, you're going to end up trading Deebo and trying to convince people that you were right. When this regime hasn't drafted a Pro Bowl wide receiver, there was a 23-year drought between Terrell Owens and Deebo Samuel, and you're going to act like you could do it again? Oh, man, I think you're tripping. I think it's Parag's fault.
Well, there you go. You're being very specific. And I think, at least for now, yes. But at the same time, John Lynch and Shanahan have power here, right? Remember when Trent Williams wasn't going to get signed and he was going to go to Kansas City, and then at the 11th hour, he calls Shanahan. Shanahan goes to Prague and it's like, get it done. And it happens. Shanahan has the power to get this done. I believe that him and or Lynch, they can get this done, right? Whatever that gap is, they can help to close it. And they've chosen to this point not to do that. Now, I do understand that traditionally the 49ers will wait, at least when it comes to guys that are already under contract. I totally understand that, but that doesn't have to be the rule. Just because that's the way you've always done it, it doesn't mean that's the way it has to be. You don't have to wait. What is the rule that says you have to wait until June, July, or August? What is that rule?
It's
Fill me in.
Right? Like they're trying not to change their precedent. This is how we extend people. We don't want the next person to use Deebo against us, but like sticking to your game plan is making Deebo's price go up because every 3 weeks another wide receiver gets paid $70 million. That's not as good as Deebo. That's the problem. You got Dave over here, Dave Frazier, saying Deebo's injury prone, 10 games missed. Hey, yo, how many fucking games is 49ers After Dark? I gotta drop F-bombs. How many fucking games has Nick Bosa missed?
Word.
How come everyone holds Deebo's injury history against him? He never tore an ACL. He never had fucking surgery. Dude, he pulled a groin. He pulled a hamstring. He broke a bone. Like, sue him. Like, all of his injury issues are a problem, but Bosa tearing an ACL or a groin every 2 years is no fucking problem. Like, what the fuck is that about?
Well, and to be fair, too, again, those are things that the 49ers are going to say in negotiation. Like, just looking at it from the 49ers side, I'm positive that they're talking about that. Deebo, you've missed 21% of the games that you should have played in the NFL. Like, can we really rely on you? But at the same time,
what about Bosa, who you have no fucking questions about, man? Like,
they're going to do the same thing to Bosa, Grant. That's the way they roll. But to me, that's where the mistake is made, right? And so for Deebo, okay, let's look at some of these other contracts and how you can actually structure it, okay? If you come in and you give, let's say, 70 million guaranteed or whatever that looks like, a really high number, 75 million, you can do it much like Diggs' contract was structured, which is, okay, we're going to give you 50 million immediately, like upfront 50 million over the course of these, right, over the course of the first 2 years. First 2 years. And then if we decide to opt in after 2 years, you're going to get the other 25, 75 million guaranteed. If not, we have an out, but you still got your 50 million. Then you're fine. You're structuring it in a way that protects you and him, right? Just get creative with it.
Like, why are people so juiced about Parag Marathe saving the $4.6 billion Yorks some money? Like, they can afford to pay Deebo what he's worth. If they're not going to give Deebo the eventually the Niners are going to have to give out some real guaranteed money to wide receivers and quarterbacks because that's what the market dictates. If it's not Deebo, it's going to be someone else. Why not Deebo? What are you going to get with the times? Like, the most guaranteed money the Niners have ever given out is 48.7 for Jimmy. Yo, Deshaun just got 230. The market is changing. Parag, are you sucking like 2008? Or are you going to get with the program? What's the deal?
Well, and they always backload these deals, right? Eventually, you can only backload for so long.
Fuck out of Deebo Samuel's deal.
And how can you do that, Grant? You get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yes,
there it is, right there. That's how you do that.
The solution. Matthew says Deebo is overplaying his hand. If you remain stubborn and cryptic, not only will he lose the negotiation, he will lose the fan base. Then he'll be gone. I kind of agree with him because even though I'm on Deebo's side, like it seems like 50% of the fan base isn't. And so maybe Deebo, like you try to copy the Kyler Murray playbook. Was that a popular move? Like everyone clowned Kyler Murray for doing it. I feel like maybe you shouldn't do this kind of stuff, but maybe I'm tripping. I don't know.
Hey, well, and here's the hard part, right? Is in the court of public opinion, who 30 days ago would have said that Deebo is a diva? Like nobody in their right mind would have said that. Nobody. I was on after game, like post game rants talking about how frustrated I was that Deebo's out there dying at the end of these games and Jimmy Garoppolo's smiling about it in post game press conferences when he's the reason that they lost the game. Like how frustrating it was to watch Deebo Samuel at the end of the Tennessee Titans game falling apart, at the end of the NFC Championship game crying, right? At the end of the Green Bay game limping off the field, doing everything he can to win those games while on a rookie contract. So now all of a sudden he's looking out for himself and he's a diva, right? That's the narrative. And right, wrong, or indifferent, If that is the court of public opinion, then that's what it is. Now, does that matter to Deebo? Should it matter? No. I mean, he has to get his, but that's the way that things are going right now. And it is very frustrating because people forget what Deebo Samuel brings to the table on the football field and how much of himself he gives.
It's not Deebo's fault that wide receivers are worth more than middle linebackers and tight ends. It's not
Right.
his fault. It's supposed to be like, hey, yeah, I'm one of the best wide receivers in the league, but pay me like a running back. Pay me like a tight end. I'm just a team player. Like, fuck that. I'm on Deebo's side. I'm going to go.
And is there a doubt that he'll be a team player once he's actually on the field? I don't doubt it. I have zero doubts.